Hey everyone, this is Patrick, and it is time for another edition of Heavy Therapy. Okay, so I've been promising, talking about producing my top 40 death metal albums of the decade so far, and I'm doing it. This is part one. So yeah, the decade that I'm speaking of course, is the 2020s. We've had 5 full years so far of some amazing death metal releases. So I want to go through my top 40. It was taking me a while to put this together. There are more than 40 releases that I wanted to include on this. Some of my top releases will be a bit controversial because they have went so progressive that the question is, are they still death metal? And again, that's just for us to debate in the comment section if you want to. But let's begin. I'm going to do 10 choices here, 40 through 31. So I'm going to show some of them physically, but not all of them. It's just a lot to pull out all 10. It sometimes disrupts the flow of the video, and this is a top 10 video. This is a top 40 video, not a collection update type video. So yeah, I'm going to show some, but not all of them as we go through this list. So let's begin. My number 40 choice is Astriferous, Costa Rican-based death metal band. They have been around since 2018. This is their debut full-length album. It is called Pulsations from the Black Orb, and came out in 2023 on Misako Unoho Records. You get 8 tracks, 34 minutes, and 20 seconds of music. Side A has an intro. Side B has an instrumental as well. I think they give you a good indication of the ambient nature that this band also includes in their pretty heavy style of death metal. Yeah, I just find myself coming back to this release over and over again. Bands that they might call to mind is going to be some of the big heavyweights, right? They call to mind Adremelech, they call to mind Demigod, they call to mind Morbid Angel, in my opinion, as well. Yeah, I just like the songwriting here. Not extremely fancy or throwing in a lot of bells and whistles, just doing death metal well. Cosmic death metal, existentialism are some of sort of the themes they're gonna give you. But yeah, just a really strong release, a debut album from Costa Rica, Astriferous with Pulsations from the Black Orb. Cool cover art as well, and the cover art is done by Jason Barnett. He is in the band. He is the vocalist in Petrification. You'll also see his artwork on their albums as well. So yeah, that would be my number 40 choice. Number 39 is a band that I really like. They have a new album coming out as well. This is Morbific, and I chose their debut album, and I actually was a big fan of their sophomore album, so some people hate on that production style, but it's close. I went with Ominous Sea but Putridity, their debut album in 2021. It was an independent release, but it was also picked up at this point by a lot of different labels. Headsplit Records put out the vinyl. Old Shadows Records and Headsplit also put out the CD. Misako Unoho Records repressed their album for vinyl. So yeah, killer song-driven death metal, catchy death metal for fans of Deicide, Autopsy, and other Finnish death metal bands as well. I mean, are gonna also come to your mind, of course. But Morbific, just nasty, filthy death metal. Really love that opening track. Really love Necro Slaver as well. Ravening Slasher Creep. The last song, The Racking Garden. 10 tracks, 33 minutes of music. It's gonna be 39 for me in my top 40 albums of death metal albums of the decade so far. Number 38 is Ghosadar with their debut full-length album, Morbid Despotic Ritual. This was out on Rotted Life. This is a band from Russia. They play that sort of spectral voice meets incantation, doomy death metal. It's not super death doom, but that's what calls to mind when I do think about other bands. Ossuarium as well. Yeah, so just killer stuff. Three-piece band from Moscow. Songs have great dynamics. Vocal style reminds me of Vastum as well. My favorite songs are going to be Prophecy, Embodiment, track 3, and the final track, Morbid Despotic Ritual. Good songwriting. Apparition is another band that calls to mind when I think about who Gosudar sound like. But just a killer release, and go back to it a lot. Yeah, check it out. Came out in 2021 from Radic Life Records. It is my number 38 choice. Number 36 is a band that I like all of their stuff. I consider them to be basically like a death metal band. If you're in death metal, here's what I'm trying to say. Like they write death metal for death metal bands, right? The technicality there is there, the nuance is there, thrashy, doomy at times, fast, different tempo dynamics. I'm talking about Skeletal from France, and I am talking about their album that came out in 2024 within Corrosive Continuums. This is actually quite different than what they usually put out at the same time. Just different styles of death metal all throughout this release. Starts with an intro, ends with a 13-minute instrumental, and there's 5 songs in between there of just ripping death metal. 40 minutes and 20 seconds here. Out on Hell's Headbangers. Strong release. Another amazing cover art there by Alexander. I can't pronounce his name. He's from Denmark, but his first name is Alexander. I'll put his link in the description as well. But just killer death metal. Good solos, good riffs, good vocals, good strong songwriting, and it's hard to go wrong with Skeletal. All 3 of their albums, I believe they have 3 full lengths. All 3 of their albums are strong. I went with their new one. 35 is a debut album, and it is by the band Sedimentum from Quebec City, Quebec, Canada. 2022 full-length release. I'm not going to try to say that title, but yeah, 7 tracks, 38 minutes. This is that Incantation style. Extremely heavy. Their demo from 2018 is one of my favorite modern demos. Really heavy band. Yeah, fast, chaotic, doomy, pummeling death metal. Incantation style, Dequisitor a little bit as well. Chaosian is another band that calls to mind. But their full-length debut album was out on Misako Un Oho Records. 7 tracks, 38 minutes of music. Yeah, just heavy, really heavy stuff. Gotta be my 35th choice here at my top 40 death metal albums of the decade so far. Okay. My 35th pick is going to be Ageless Summoning, and it is also a debut album. It is out on Dark Descent Records, and it is called Corrupting the Untempled Plane. 10 tracks, 49 minutes, almost 50 minutes of music. This album actually took a while for me to get into, and then when I realized how much I enjoyed it, I really enjoyed it. Sort of Covenant, Domination, Formulas era of Morbid Angel, Ageless Summoning. I just love the world building that this band does. Dark, atmospheric, like it packs an emotional punch. Death metal. If you're a fan of Sedimentum, Immolation, Incantation, Morbid Angel, you're gonna like Ageless Summoning. A grower of an album for me. Bands from the United Kingdom. Again, they had a 2018 demo, first full length in 2023, so they took their time. They really took their time writing songs. Just killer stuff. Another band that Ageless Summoning kind of sound like maybe it would be Diabolizer, but old school death metal as you're gonna get. in this new age. Ageless Summoning, Corrupting the Entempled Plane is my 35th pick. 34, and this is another album that, you know, if I would have revisited it more, it maybe would have even been higher, because I really, really like this album. It's my favorite album from this band, another band from Finland. I'm talking about Desolate Shrines, Fires of the Dying World. Came out in 2022 on Dark Descent Records. 7 tracks, 46 minutes, and 25 seconds of music. This is death doom done well. There's some synth that pops up. Just layered, big sounding songs. Some of the earlier stuff was a bit more fuzzy in terms of the guitar tone. This is more sort of piercing and tight in terms of the production. Like a more just a more cleaner sounding production, but it just suits the music even more so, in my opinion. My favorite Desolate Shrine album. Yeah, but number 34 is Fires of the Dying World. 33 is a band that I love all their stuff. Saw them live recently. They come all the way from Denmark, the Copenhagen Kings. This is Undergang, and yeah, band's been around for a while now. 2008. This is their 5th full-length album. Their only full-length from this decade so far. They are working on a new one. Autopsy style, death metal. One of the heaviest bands you're going to see live. Killer live. Great dynamics in their songwriting, especially in the drums. They really know how to sort of I'm using this in a positive way, drag out doomier stuff, and then they know how to come in and just pummel you with hard hitting riffs. Yeah, one of my favorite modern bands. Probably not my favorite Undergang album, but it's up there. Very, very strong release here by the boys from Killtown. David, who does guitars and vocals, also runs Extremely Rotten Productions. So yeah, fans of the genre, respect the genre, and killer artwork as well, done by David himself. So just doing death metal for all the right reasons. Gotta love that. See them live if you can. Yeah, this is gonna be my 33rd pick. For number 32 is a band that I do see some people talk about, but not enough. Bands from Germany. This band's crazy. This is Omega Vortex with their Black Abomination Spawn album. Their only full-length album so far. Been around since 2017. Very chaotic, noisy, dissonant death metal. Very extreme. They bring in that attitude that's a bit blackened and thrashy as well. But this album was out on Victus Productions. 9 tracks, 46 minutes of music. The song transitions into one another is relentless. They almost never stop. You don't really know when the next song begins until you get more familiar with the album. Of Feather and Bone might be a band that, if you like Of Feather and Bone and haven't heard Omega Vortex, check them out. Yeah, just a killer release. They just do that exact style, that dark style that I want to, that that are some of my favorite styles of sort of this subgenre. Chaotic, fast, ripping, weird. Death metal, that's Omega Vortex. That's Black Abomination Spawn. Okay, so rounding out my first 10 here is a band that is controversial, but deserve it. They deserve the praise they get. They're doing a lot for the genre right now. This is Blood Incantation's Absolute Elsewhere, and this album was in my top 10 or so of 2024, but it did fall. It did fall a bit. I would say that this is not my favorite Blood Incantation album. That's going to go to Stars Spawn. This band's from Denver, Colorado, by the way. Been around since 2011, so they are becoming veterans as well. what they do here is 2 big tracks. Side A is the Stargate. Side B is the Message. 44 minutes of music. And we knew they were into different styles of music. We knew they were into progressive stuff, experimental stuff, crowd, whatever that's called, like yacht rock influence as well. And they went all the way here. This is textbook. This might be the album that in the next 10 years or so, people point to this album as to getting them into more heavier stuff, getting them into more death metal stuff. It also might become just a good illustration of a technically perfectly written progressive death metal album. But I think what I want to see them do in the future is just a more of a weirder blend. Because after a while, this does become a bit like, I didn't know that they were gonna go all the way on this album, but after you hear it a few times, you're like, yeah, I can, like, it becomes actually a bit more predictable than that first listen. But they almost played it safe at the same time. That might be weird to say, but yeah, Blood Incantation, Absolute Elsewhere, killer release. I'm going to mention the artwork for this one as well. It was by Steve R. Dodd. He did their EP that brought them into this new era as well, and just, yeah, killer artwork. But yeah, this has been part 1 of my top 40 death metal albums of the decade so far. Drop me in the comments. What albums here are you still playing? What albums here are you not playing? What are overrated, underrated? What are some gems that I might have missed? I might sprinkle in a couple of runners up as I do a couple more of these other videos, but I'm not sure. But yeah, these are 10 very strong releases, death metal releases from this modern era, from this decade so far. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you all in the comment section, and remember to stay heavy. Bye.